Good evening, everyone, and welcome to. Wait, what day is it? Oh, yeah, it is Thursday, the special edition of the Third and Long podcast, the last Third and Long podcast of 2022. My name is Shane Harris, along with my 49ers friends to my right, Ollie Hope and Philip Perrins, and the long-suffering Pats fan above me, Mr. Oliver Butler Henderson. Gentlemen, I hope you had a lovely Christmas, and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you and yours.
Happy New Year, Shane.
Thank
How
you,
are we
Shane.
all
I
doing?
hope you, I'm doing good. Excited for another good week of football. Happy that the Niners won again. Annoyed that the Vikings stole a win because I want that 2 seed, but I guess we'll get to that. But yeah, I hope all of you guys had a great Christmas and looking forward to New Year on Sunday.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Yeah, it was a good Christmas. Anyone get anything nice NFL related wise?
McCaffrey shirts, 49ers hats.
No, because I just tend to buy because I'm such a serial kind of like merchandise hauler. Like if I see anything that I like, I just buy it. So my family don't tend to get me any 49er stuff because I'm likely to just go ahead and not wait for Christmas because I'm an adult and I can buy whatever I want.
That's the thing. That's the thing about our lives now. We're adults. We can buy whatever we want, whenever we want. So the only thing my family and friends have got me is plenty of Strongbow, which they know that's going to get used. They're not wasting their money.
Send a couple down this way. I'll share them with you, man.
I'm
sporting something I've got. Which
I can't drink Strongbow anymore.
It's the best.
Mate, it's nice with blackcurrant. It is like the dark fruits, but it's really nice.
Blasphemy.
Snake bite. That's what we used to call it at Worcester Uni. A snake bite.
Yeah, that was with lager, wasn't it?
Yeah, with just a
cider and lager.
Mm.
Oh, used to go down that other way.
Anyway,
let's
lads,
start
we've got a long show. We've got a lot to get through.
Oh, look at you jumping in to ruin all the festivities. All right, then, cool. What we're going to talk about first, there's quite a lot that we've missed. Well, I say missed, a lot to talk about this week
JJ.
since
Let's
week 16.
start with the big one. Let's start with the end of a career for Mr. JJ.
Ooh.
That is a big one. Merry Christmas, Dave. Happy New Year to all.
Dave just
Leather
come in and
jacket.
said, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Merry Christmas to
Dave,
you,
and
you.
Dave. I hope you have a great Christmas.
Mm.
So, yeah, JJ's hanging up his cleats at the end of the season, so he's got 2 more games left of his career. Obviously, spent 10 years of his career in Houston, leaving that team as a legend of that team, but his pick was booed. The fans hated it when he was drafted in Houston, yet he ended up making, 40 50 million for when the Hurricane went straight for it in 2017. It's the only thing this guy's missing is a Hall of Fame ring, is a ring.
Now, why was he booed when he was drafted? Because you mentioned it the other day, and to my ignorance, I didn't actually look it up. But like, what were Houston hoping to get out of that?
They thought he was picked too high, and they think if they wanted him so badly, they should have traded down.
Yeah. They thought it was a wasted pick. They didn't think it was good enough for what they wanted. They obviously they were after a QB. The fans wanted a QB. The fans wanted an attacking side of the ball. They weren't looking for a defensive end. But this guy is probably one of the best footballers ever to play the game.
I can actually see this guy coming out of retirement about this time next year, going to a team that's in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I mean, the thing is, you said like him being booed in Houston. The fan base wanted more of an attacking team, but for the longest year, like the longest part, the AFC was dominated by the Patriots and either the Steelers or the Texans getting to the championship game. Yeah. So I mean, and he was the anchor of that. I mean, to one point they drafted Clowney, didn't they, to play outside linebacker to complement JJ playing as an end. So he was the reason why the Texans were relevant for a long time. And again, when we mentioned about last night about the Texans since their inception have never had that franchise quarterback. The closest they had was Watson, but at least said about him the better. But like they've gone through some absolute clowns in Houston and still will continue to go for it. So I mean, Brockhoff, we were talking about Brockhoff. Well, I'm pretty sure Fitzmagic was there. Josh McCown was there. Hoyer, Mallet, like literally just the cast-offs of the cast-offs that were given like starting quarterback money. But you know, he was booed when he was drafted, but he's going to go down as probably the Texans' greatest ever player.
Most definitely.
Hall of Famer.
Shano?
He will be a Hall of
It's
Famer.
like Ollie, Ollie Hope, I genuinely think that you may have a point with the fact that he may come back into the league at some point, because whether it's a partner leaving you, losing a job, changing a house, or any sort of thing that's in your life which is dug its heels in and it's there for the long term, you're going to miss it no matter what it is. So imagine, I imagine that if he could go back and somebody wanted him, I think he'd bite their hand off.
Wouldn't it be quite funny if he goes and plays alongside his brother?
I think it's more. I think he deserves a ring, and I hope he gets a ring. So I hope he comes back and goes to, I don't know, let's say the Bills next season. If they still have Von Miller, that would be just scary. But
oh God,
I think he'll go somewhere where he has a chance to get a ring about this time next season.
Yeah, I mean, it blows my mind that he went to Arizona, because even in their infinite, when they thought they actually had a playoff berth in them, the Cardinals were never all that. Like they weren't, especially not in the NFC, not in the NFC West. Like him going there was just such a head scratching move.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys seen that Kyler Murray tweet? He tweeted about Larry Fitzgerald saying, I feel blessed to have been able to play hockey with this guy. Then tweets a picture of Brittany Griner, and then Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah, it was someone else.
Like, so glad to play with you, but that's a picture of Brittany Griner, brother.
No, I saw a tweet regarding Pittsburgh saying, "Can we have you as spare parts?" For his brother. I thought that was brilliant. I don't know if it came from the Pittsburgh account. I can't find it now, but I'm seeing it going, Pittsburgh are gone, they want him for spare parts. I thought that's absolutely brilliant.
It's a shame that both Watts will probably never win a Super Bowl.
All three of them.
Considering how great they've been. Oh, yeah, all three,
All three of them.
Well, I was thinking the two that are actually,
players.
Active.
Active and contesting.
Yeah, I mean, Derek plays for Pittsburgh too, so.
Yeah. I mean, I was watching his Walter Payton Man of the Year speech on 2017, and it is quite inspirational. It's really worth watching. It's showing how he wants to be able to do better for everyone, and we want to be able to leave this planet better for everyone else and help everyone else and how it should be.
What JJ Watt did for Houston in 2017 is absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Was it 40-odd million he raised that year?
Yeah.
40+ million for hurricane relief.
He's not just a legend of Houston, of the Houston Texans. He's a legend of Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That raised that guy's appeal off the field more than anything else. Everyone knows JJ Watt now for that, not just for his football skills, but for that.
And he was also good in. I don't know if you ever watched. It was a sitcom called The League. It was just a sitcom. I remember for about like 5 years. And it was basically about a bunch of friends, and they run a fantasy football league. And he popped up a couple of times with Marshawn Lynch, and he's got some really good comedic timing. Like he was really good. He turned up at a kid's disco, or whatever they have in America, like the dance, and he was really good. He was really, really funny in that. So,
but was he as good as Clay Matthews in
Pitch Perfect 2? No. No. Clay was brilliant. Clay was amazing.
The Green Bay Packers singing "Bootylicious" will never be beaten.
Oh my god, yeah, that was actually the highlight of and I love Pitch Perfect 1 and 2. 2 a little bit more, but like him turning up in that, I was like, oh, it's so good. That's so good.
We're going slightly off topic.
I didn't like 3 because anyway, we don't want to get accused of going off topic.
That's quickly about JJ Watt. Listen to these statistics as of week 16, 2022. So this week, right? His total tackles were 580. He had 111.5 sacks, 69 pass deflections, 27 forced fumbles, and 17 fumble recoveries. Ladies and gentlemen, what an absolute beast. As Ollie said, again, he is on point this week. Fair play to him. I don't know what he had over Christmas, but he's banging. He's knocking out the park at the moment. He is not just a legend of the Texans, he's a legend of Houston as well.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, but he scored 5 touchdowns.
Shane,
3 of them were offensive. 3 of them on the offensive side of the ball. Receiving touchdowns.
I mean, it's not often me and Shane agreeing twice in 10 minutes is pretty impressive.
I know,
That's
you're
pretty
doing well for
impressive.
yourself.
That is, it's going somewhere.
It's a
I mean, he's a
Christmas
five-time Pro Bowler, five-time first teamer, two-time NFL sack leader, NFL forced fumbles co-leader, team of the decade in 2010,
three-time defensive
all-time
player.
rookie of the year,
3-time defensive player of the year.
three-time defensive player of the year, 2012, 2014, 2015. The only thing this guy's missing is a ring and MVP. And if he got to the Super Bowl, he would have been one of those players that would have been MVP. Aaron Donald-esque would have made that Super Bowl his game.
Yeah, well, Bosa's going to get MVP this year, so it's fine.
100%.
And so that one. Let's go on to the other bits of the news. Let's start with Nathaniel Hackett didn't even last the season. Shano.
He is the third.
To be honest, yep, it was well overdue. It was well overdue. The fact that he was given the keys to the kingdom with Russell Wilson, as a case of, we've given you this world-class quarterback. We've paid a lot of money for him. Do something. And he done nothing. And they even brought in play callers to do his job for him, and they couldn't save him.
Yeah, he's the third head coach to not make it through the first season.
Really? Who are the other ones?
I can't remember the other ones off the top of my head.
On that spot.
I saw this on Good Morning Football on Tuesday, which was a while ago. But there was a Niners guy who was 1-8, and some other guy. But yeah, he's the third head coach to not make it through the first season with the team.
It's interesting. It was either going to be him or Russ, and Russ is going to cost them $250 million. So let's get to the first-year head coach that went straight away. They're 4-11. We watched them against LA Rams, and LA Rams ripped them apart. Baker Mayfield destroyed them. Baker Mayfield had an MVP game.
I mean, we watched them live at Wembley, and we watched Trevor Lawrence absolutely decimate them at the end.
Oh, Singletary. Singletary was one of them.
Yeah.
And that didn't last the season because Tom Sula took charge of the last game. But yeah.
We watched. I mean, me, Ollie, and Phil watched them get absolutely destroyed. Mr. Unlimited has been Mr. Limited all season, but is that down to the coaching or just down to the fact that he's not as good as he used to be?
Well, you see the Rippon have a go at his offensive lineman at the start, halfway through the third quarter, or it might be near the fourth quarter, and then them kicking off on the sideline. So there is that almost like a toxic atmosphere in Denver at the minute, which hasn't been the same since Peyton retired. It's these great QBs that they had there, like Peyton. You got Lynch and all that lot in there. Not Lynch. Who's the guy up there at the minute?
Locke. Drew Lock was there.
In the GM.
Lynch. Oh, Elway.
Elway. Great QBs they've had there, and now since Peyton's retired, they're struggling to find that next great quarterback.
Trevor Siemian, Drew Lock, Brett Rippon, Kendall Hinton played a game.
I mean, we all thought at the start of the season that Denver, this was going to be the best division. The West was going to be the best division. Denver was going to be a real proper force if they can get Russ cooking like he should have been. They've got great weapons, and all that. Yes, they've got the highest number of players on injury reserve at 20 at the minute. But you've still got a very good offense. You've still got going into that game, you had one of the best defenses in the league.
And Ollie, talking about the West, that's a great segue onto Derek Carr, is it not?
Very, very much so. What did you say in the group chat earlier on, Phil, about a PR?
No, I was thinking about, because once it sunk in, and I mentioned a couple of weeks ago now when we talked about why the Raiders haven't sacked McDaniels. And where it came out on the NFL Network that the Raiders are very much cash strapped because they've spent a lot of money bringing in a lot of players. They've got a lot of dead weight, a lot of dead money that they'll have to cut. And I genuinely think, and especially since it's come through that it was actually Mark Davis?
Yes.
Mike Davis?
Davis, Davis, who was running it, Al's son. stepped in and asked, or specifically said, for Carr to be benched for the remainder of the season. And I was just looking at Carr's actual contract, and I generally don't think that they want to jeopardize him getting hurt, because I think regardless, Vegas are going to move on from Carr in the offseason. Whether or not it's a trade, whether or not it's a free agency, I think he's done. And looking at the money that he's guaranteed, if he's injured and still on that team and they can't trade him, in the offseason, he's guaranteed 40 million. In 2023, he's guaranteed 32 million. And in his final year of his contract, in 24, he's guaranteed 7 million. That's a massive, massive chunk of change that the Raiders can't afford. So I think them benching him is their way of keeping him safe, so they can trade him on to probably the Colts or the Jets.
I do agree with that.
I generally think that.
With the fact that he's fucked off home and isn't practicing now.
Yeah.
Well, you said you don't agree.
Right. No, I do agree.
Yeah. So I missed that bit, yeah.
Because of the fact that he's fucked off home rather than is still training with them.
And he's a California lad as well, because he was brought up in the West Coast. So he's just come straight back to San Diego, Francisco, Santa Clara, wherever he's currently living, and he's done. He's
checked out. He checked out.
And which sends a horrible precedence, because the Raiders are in a massive fire sale anyway. I mean, they've got a lot of players that you think they would want to try and keep. And I mean, I'm not even an anti Derek Carr fan, but this season has been his worst in the league, regardless. Now we can blame McDaniels or whatever, but it's been his worst season in the league last year and this year. He's had weapons brought in to help. He hasn't improved, and it's looking statistically to be his weakest year in the NFL. Well, other than the 2014 season, this is his worst season. So he's hit his limit. He's done. I think Vegas are, quite rightly thinking 9 years. He's not really got us anywhere. He's been to 2 playoff games, and we've lost both.
Shayna, where do you think he'll end up?
Go on, Bat.
Where do you think he's going to end up, Shayna?
I agree with Phil on this one. The fact that they're probably going to run out of patience fairly soon. I don't know. Maybe it is with all the quarterback controversy in New York and the Jets. Maybe he'll end up with the Jets. I think that's a good place because I've got a carousel of quarterbacks at the moment. So I think maybe he'll end up with the Jets. He's got the experience there.
Yeah. You've got six. You've got 6. If you take the Raiders out of the equation, you've got 6 legitimate teams that are going to be looking for quarterbacks. You've got the Jets. You've got the Colts. You've got the Titans. You've got the Falcons. You've got who else was I think? Oh, you've got the Redskins. Sorry, the Commanders. And you've got Houston.
Mm-hmm.
They're all legitimately going to be looking for quarterbacks, and Derek Carr is not a bad quarterback.
You think Houston really?
Yeah, 100%. I don't think they're sold on Mills. Okay. Mills will not be starting under center next year.
Tennessee won't be keeping Tannehill.
I just want to go back to the 2017 season, which was probably Carr's best season.
Yeah.
And then was it his ACL he tore in like the last game?
No, he broke his leg.
Of the regular season.
Yeah, he did his fibia, didn't he? Because he was done. Because even though they won the game, they knew that even though they went to the playoffs, they weren't going to win. And I mean,
no one celebrated. They didn't celebrate him then going to the playoffs
because they knew they weren't going to go through because they didn't have Carr.
He never came back and was the same player.
No.
That's always the same with any kind of sports, any kind of when you have that almost career-threatening injury, which it pretty much was. You are not the same player. It doesn't matter what the sport is. You're not that same player.
It's not just physical. It's mental. You've only got to look at the likes of Anderson Silva in the UFC. Broke his leg. He was never the same. You've only got to look at all the soccer players over the years. The likes of Aaron Ramsey and Eduardo for Arsenal as well. They broke their legs. Luke Shaw. They were never the same players. But when you've got a physical sport, like the NFL, where you're using all facets of your body pretty much, of course, it's going to have a tremendous mental and physical toll on you.
Yeah, completely agree. Completely and utterly agree. You said that earlier on that this is Heineke's time and done in Washington.
Yeah, I do believe that. I believe that Heineke's career at the Commanders is done because he's good enough to be a starting quarterback. As Phil just said there are 6 teams, excluding the Commanders if you include the Raiders, that are looking for a quarterback. This guy is a starting quarterback, good enough to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. So why would he hang about in Washington when they're not going to start him?
Thing is, he's going to want to go somewhere that is. I don't think he's going to want to go to Las Vegas, where it's poisonous. New York are going to want to step up, and I think Derek Carr is a step up for New York in that one. And I think he could take them to the next level that Zach or Mike White can't take them there. I see Mike White and Tyler Heineke are very, very similar. They got a very dogged fight about them. They do not give up and put everything on the line.
I think Heineke's better than White, though.
I think Heineke's better than White. Yeah.
Oh, great. I'm not denying that. I just think they're the similar kind of players. I could see Heineke going to Indy or Texas or something like that. Who are going to be looking for a quarterback. He's better than Matt Ryan. He's better than Davis Mills at this moment in time. Matt Ryan.
My big question to all of you is: have they gone back to Carson Wentz because they're like, okay, yeah, we went all in on this guy. We need to hope that he balls out the last 2 games of the season so we can name the starter next season.
I think that's probably the most likeliest outcome. Heineke's a really, really good quarterback, and we've really enjoyed it. And I think it's a case of, right, we've got to see what we've got here, because they only had, 4 games with Wentz before he broke his finger?
4 or 5, yeah.
Something like that,
And then he's been out, and they've done incredibly well with Heineke in the centre. He always throws everything on the line. He never gives up. And there's a case of, right, oh, shit, we've really got to see what this Carson Wentz can do with an offense that's getting better every week.
Yeah.
I've got one of those what the kids call hot takes, right? do you know who I think may have one eye on the quarterback situation in and around the league?
Sean Payton.
Baltimore. I hate to say it. No, Sean Payton. No, ourselves, because we don't know what's going on with the Lamar Jackson situation yet.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think I think John and the GM and Eric DaCosta has got one eye on the quarterback situation.
Yeah, I mean, going back onto I think the Commanders could afford Jackson because they don't spend, so they've got quite a lot of cap space. The Raiders couldn't afford Jackson. The Jets maybe. The Colts, I don't think he'd go.
Texans definitely could because they've got a lot.
Texans
of
could, and Texans have a lot of cap like
I feel like the Falcons
draft capital.
could, because they're suddenly going to find $60 million that they had dead this year.
Yeah,
Nice. Yeah.
And Phil, I'm not sure. Did you watch the Niners game? The Niners Washington game? Because at the end, Heineke was icing his arm. So I'm thinking, is there some sort of injury that they're not telling us about?
Ooh, I thought you were going to go on about the Niners. Then I was about to go.
No.
No.
No. I didn't notice that. That's
Yeah.
they haven't showed that on Red Zone. They haven't showed it on any footage.
Yeah, I did notice. Yeah.
Because Heineke didn't end the game. They brought in some other guy. They brought in Wentz, I think.
I thought they brought. I think they took him out because Heineke was just getting pressured and just thrown to the, he was like the fourth quarter. It was difficult to watch if I was a Commanders fan.
He was icing his arm at the end.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe there is maybe a slight injury that they're not telling us about.
But just really quickly, are you speculating about a potential next landing spot for Lamar Jackson? To me, it sounds that's almost as bad as thinking of my missus going into another bloke. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know which one I'm bad about.
No, but I think Jackson's probably one of 3 quarterbacks that I think are going to cause quite a lot of interest in teams. It's gonna be Jackson, it's gonna be Garoppolo, and it's gonna be Minshew. I generally think those are the 3 that are going to be.
Minshew is not going to get interest because he's not a good quarterback.
Minshew's a good quarterback.
I'm
really sorry, but Minshew's actually a really good quarterback. If you look at his stats, honestly, Minshew is a really good quarterback.
In which case,
Minshew is made for the Raiders.
Week and they weren't listening. He wasn't listening.
Can we just circle back to the bet that me and Ollie made last week? It was Minshew will throw 2 more interceptions and that the Eagles would lose. And lo and behold, what happened?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think he was.
One of them was a Hail Mary going for it at the end of the game.
Yeah,
it's still a pick.
And Ollie, even a broken clock is right twice a day, but
I know. There is a little bit of other quarterback news that broke about an hour and a bit ago.
Matthew's just come in saying "Skol, everyone."
Hey, hello, Matthew. Bonjour.
Oh, bonjour, Matthew.
Matthew, for our two newbies or newer presenters, is from Quebec in Canada.
wow, so
Yeah.
cool.
And he has an incredible man cave.
Oh my god, his man cave is the bomb. It's on. He sent it to us. It's absolutely awesome.
Was that I missed that? I missed that. What?
So
Matthew, who's just commented, is from
Hey,
Quebec in
Matthew.
Canada. He's a massive Vikings fan, and his man cave is absolutely incredible.
oh my god, it's brilliant.
I think we
Absolutely
showed
brilliant.
it on the podcast once, didn't we?
I think we did, yeah. I think we might have done many times ago. Josh Dobbs starting for Tennessee this week.
Oh yeah, I put in the chat just like, who is this guy?
Bounced around the league, mainly been on practice squads. Signed from Detroit's practice squad 8 days ago.
Surely they can't have a full playbook.
No. Obviously, we'll talk about more of this when we get to the week 17 stuff, but surely this is them resting players because they're resting Henry tonight as well. Make sure they're ready for the Jags game next week.
It's for the Jags game next week, the winner takes all Jags game.
Yeah. Week 16, gentlemen, it is in the bag. Any games that really jumped out to you, bar the Niners?
The Jags game was really dull.
Jags game was really dull, wasn't it?
I thought the Bills Bears was quite good up until the point where the Bills just decided that they weren't going to play with them anymore, just like steamrolled away.
Yeah, don't play football anymore.
I thought the Vikings Giants game was incredible.
Yeah, I thought that was another really good example of the NFL showing its best. You know what? I thought the Eagles and the Cowboys was a really good game. I think it was really tight up until the last couple of up until the midpoint.
Brilliant game.
I really enjoyed the fumble that the Patriots did. That was fun.
Oh, it's not funny. Oh, it's not funny. It's not funny. I'm not laughing.
The thing is, though, I was getting incredibly angry about that game. In the first half, I was like, "Oh, we're going to get shut out here. We're not even going to score any points." And then we turned it around. Marcus Jones, being the stud that he is this season, he's got to be a candidate for defensive rookie of the year. You know, touchdown, receiving touchdown, rushing touchdown. No, not rushing touchdown, an interception touchdown, and a kick return touchdown. He's got to be in conversation for defensive rookie of the year. It kind of sparked it and kicked it off, and then you had that really strange play where Mac threw for 55 yards, where Bill said last week he couldn't throw it that far. Well, that one out. Which literally was a perfect setup for Jacoby off Washington for the touchdown. And then we decided to go run the ball straight through the middle of an O-line, which doesn't work very rarely, and it's got fumbled. It just shows, yes, you are trying to run the clock down so you can, Cincinnati had minimal time to score the points, get down the other end, score a touchdown, win the game, or tie it up in overtime. But it just shows the limitation of Patricia's offensive mind works. Defensive, he's a very, very good defensive coordinator. Offensive, not so much.
I can't remember who it was, whether it was Stevenson or Harris or whoever it was, but they're not Derrick Henry. They can't just run down the middle and have people bounce off them.
Yeah.
There's very few running backs who can go straight through the middle. Very, very few. Yeah. They always bounce around the outside,
I mean,
we're lucky our gentleman below us has got a very good running back who wears number 8 up there,
And we have a very good running back who wears 23.
Yep.
Obviously, the final nail in the coffin for Nathaniel Hackett was in LA on Christmas Day.
I mean, having a 50 burger put on you by a team that's won 4 games this season is full-on embarrassing.
I mean, the worst thing is that 2 of their touchdowns in the first quarter was inside the 30. Was inside Broncos' 30-yard line. It just shows how bad it was. I mean, 2 picks from Russ, which doesn't help.
3 picks all?
Two of them in the first quarter. That's what I was on about. The 2 picks didn't help. And who was in the box? Tony Romo was in the box, and he goes, "I don't normally pick on quarterbacks. Quarterbacks unspoken rule and all that. But why is he throwing his triple coverage when he's got a man there in the flats, which is going to make the first down?
Yeah.
Russ looks like a player who's shot on confidence. He's trying to make these big plays to almost boost his confidence, almost trying to make something happen instead of like, right, let's play it safe, get that simple first down. Let's do it that way. Safe play, safe football instead of, right, let's try and ignite something.
But like, do you not think as well the whole scenario of with the coaching and the ownership and bringing in Russ, because wasn't the one thing that Nathaniel Hackett and the Broncos did for the majority of the offseason was try and woo Aaron Rodgers into leaving Green Bay to go there? That was the whole story of the offseason, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then when that was like the final, because Nathaniel Hackett is really close with Aaron Rodgers, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of the reason why the Broncos initially hired Hackett, because he thought they could bring Rodgers.
I think it was.
To the organization.
Mm-hmm.
And then so he's got this playbook that is built around having Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers, because of how we feel about him personally, is an elite quarterback in his prime. So, and then going, oh crap, well, we're not going to get Aaron Rodgers. And the same day the trade goes through for Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson, I mean, me and Ollie might have very different opinions on him. I personally hate his guts, but on his day, Russell Wilson is a very good quarterback who has caused me many unhappy weekends as a 49ers fan. And I just think his skill set and Aaron Rodgers' skill set, not even remotely the same. Hackett's, as a play caller, hasn't really been tested because he's drawn up this playbook to suit Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. And again, this is the reason why Pete Carroll didn't let Russell Wilson off the leash in Seattle. Because he's not the same quarterback as he was 3 years ago, 4, 10. And I just think it's a horrible trade. He's in the wrong place, wrong coaching scheme, wrong ownership, and it's just made the Broncos look ridiculous, and it's set them back 10 years because they don't have any draft picks now for the foreseeable future.
I'm just going to put Matthew's comments up quickly, who says he's going to Green Bay to watch the Vikings versus Packers, then Cincinnati to watch the Bills versus Bengals game, and then going to see the Hall of Fame. So it looks like Matthew's got a great couple of days coming up. I hope you have a great time.
That is absolutely awesome. Love that. Matthew, that is absolutely superb, mate.
That's quality.
That is ideal. Lush. Obviously, Tua's down now with a third concussion of the year. Well,
but
second concussion of the year.
But Teddy,
sorry, boys. Just going to skip over the fact that Cam Akers scored a hat-trick against the Broncos.
Well, that's against that in Player of the Week.
We'll get to that in Player of the Week, mate.
I was going to bring it up, but then I thought we'll get to that in Player of the Week. But Teddy is a good backup.
Mike McDaniels is saying today in the press conference I saw on Good Morning Football that they feel lucky to have Teddy as a backup quarterback. He is no pun intended, he is a bridge quarterback. But I'm more worried about Tua's health now. There's been a lot of stories, a lot of comments saying he should hang up his cleats. 3 concussions a season, isn't good.
After the second,
Aaron Rodgers said.
After the second, he was told he should retire from football.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers said on the Pat McAfee show, saying, right, he should look after his health now. He knows as a competitor he won't do that, but he's really got to think about this now.
I think things like that needs to be taken out of. I think things like that need to be taken out of his own hands because, I mean, to use 2 49ers players off the top of my head, Ollie, Chris Borland, 1 season in the NFL, retires. It was supposed to be like the heir apparent to Patrick Wilson. Do you remember, Ollie, when we had Borland? And he left. You don't remember Borland? Like, literally 1 season in the NFL, middle linebacker. I think he had a concussion. It was in Jim Harbaugh's last season. He retired in the offseason. And don't forget, getting multiple concussions is the reason why Steve Young had to retire in '98.
Yeah, I know. Steve Young.
Concussions forced the great Steve Young out of the league before the season ended.
I mean,
Shade. You can shake your head. The great Steve Young. Steve Young, man. Steve Young is the great. He's
great. Watch some videos of Steve Young. You'll be impressed.
He was up
there with Montana and Dan Marino.
Just talking about injuries of that should be taken out of people's hands. My thoughts: is it Ronnie Lott? Who
What
was
if
it?
him when he had his finger
Yeah.
when he had his finger amputated to play?
Somebody should have stepped in and be like, "Yeah, don't do that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, the story of Ronnie Lott is that he broke I think it was like his little finger, and he was told that if he casted it up and waited, he'd miss about 3 or 4 weeks, or a couple of games, 4 games. Well, if he had it amputated, he could play the following weekend, and he had his little finger amputated.
And then said he regretted it next season.
While we're on about dodgy fingers, can someone tell Brian Bolginger to go and get his fingers set out? Right, let's roll on to players of the week. I've done it slightly different. I've got them all rolling through at the bottom there. Let's start with who was actually put down as defensive player of the week and Mr. Perrin's player of the week.
Oh my god! All right, so I don't have Bosa's direct stats in front of me. I'm really, really horribly prepared for this because I've got other things up on my screen. But we had this chat in the game when we played the Commanders, and Mr. Hope has picked another 49ers player, and I was going, oh well, you know what? Bosa absolutely just honestly, it was actually terrifying. I can kind of see why. I mean, they took Heineke out for probably injury reasons, but he was just getting through every single, no matter what tackle and guard they were pulling, no matter the fullback or the running back, to try and just give Heineke a little bit more extra protection. Bosa was just relentless. Like, he was terrifyingly unstoppable in that game.
Have you seen Kyle's tease to of taking him out the last 2 games and not playing him?
I think it's a tease, but he's definitely going to get. I mean, he has a chance this weekend because the Raiders have a really, really poor, and David can vouch for this as well. They have a very, very poor makeshift offensive line, which probably hasn't helped Carr's situation. And he's got the Cardinals' last game of the season at Levi's, so you're gonna think he's going to crash the record.
Limited sacks. It will be. It's not sacks. Limited
snaps. He'll be on a snap. He'll be on a snap count.
Yeah.
So
Bosa's stats was 7 tackles, 5 solos, 2 for a loss, 4 quarterback hits, and 2 sacks. I'm surprised no one went for Fred Warner with his 12 tackles, but that's a different story.
It did cross my line.
Fred Warner, I find ridiculously underappreciated. I really do. And I don't want to spend too much time on the 49ers, so I won't. We'll talk about it in a later date, but in the playoffs. But yeah, Fred Warner, ridiculously underrated. Like, he's not the Patrick Willis heir apparent that I think 49ers fans hoped he would be. He's so much more. Like, I'm not saying he's better, but he's more than what the fans thought he would be.
That's why I'm still on the same page. Let's go to 49ers. The other 49er one.
George Kittle, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 very good touchdowns, including that second one. What an interception from Ray McLeod. I mean,
it was really good.
I mean, that ball was heading for Ray McLeod. Brock Purdy's admitted he was trying to throw to Ray McLeod. even Kyle Shanahan in the press conference was like, "Yeah, and that was a great interception off Ray." And then it was taken for a touchdown.
I love that one. What we were talking about last week, Catch the Week went up on Twitter 2 days ago. Catch the Week was voted by 50% of the votes was for DJ Moore's toe drag swag on the sideline for a first down, which was a mine.
I went through that quickly because I don't want to spend too much time on the Niners this week.
Brilliant.
Yeah, George Kittle had a game.
Yeah, I mean, look at the stats. Yeah, they're good, really, really good stats. I did like Ray McLeod's 71 rushing touchdown. That was quite an impressive one down the sideline. That was quite a good one, I must admit. Shano, let's go for the Tash.
Thank you, Brett. Before I begin, can I please do this uninterrupted, if that's okay with everybody else? To quote a famous Bible verse, when it comes crashing down and it hurts inside, brother, right? Gardner Minshew balled out for only his 2nd game of the season. He ran one in, he threw for 2. Yeah, granted, he got picked off twice by a very good Cowboys defense. But the fact that he played that well, he's got a very good Eagles team around him, at the moment. They lost by 6 points, but the fact that it was his first proper game, and he still managed to throw for 2 and run one in. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm a card-carrying member of the Gardner Minshew fan club. If he was starting under center for Baltimore next year, he'd be offended by it.
Let's put it this way. If Jacksonville hadn't of been number 1 pick in 2021, Gardner Minshew would have been starting for Jacksonville. Because Trevor Lawrence wouldn't have been there. He would have been elsewhere.
All I'm going to say is that Minshew choked against one of the biggest choke artists in Dak Prescott. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm going to say that Minshew looked like...
That's not fair. That's like literally saying, like, we could just reel through Hall of Fame quarterbacks that have had their choke in, like Dan Marino in '84. Did he choke in the Super Bowl? Did Elway choke in the Super Bowl? Did Matt Ryan choke in the Super Bowl? Did Peyton Manning
Tom Brady against the Eagles in the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't think that's fair. Everyone's allowed to have one bad game. I just think Minshew...
It takes 53 people to lose a game, not just one.
Exactly.
Even if you just throw multiple interceptions.
He had a solid game, and one of those interceptions was literally trying to go for it. It was a Hail Mary attempt.
Yeah.
It was, exactly. He was trying to get the ball down the yard. They had, it's like, right, it was on a 4th and 10. They had to go for it.
It wasn't a mistake, really.
Minshew will be a hot commodity in the offseason. There'll be teams that are going to want Minshew.
He works hard for it.
He'll have not much. He'll have a very, very small free agent market, if at all. Anyway, Jalen Hurts is back this week, and the Eagles are going to get 1 seed.
I don't think he's going to be back. They're being very coy on that being back. He was spotted at practice today. Okay, I haven't caught up with that one yet, but yeah, the last time I heard, they were being very coy about it.
He returned to practice today,
and it does say on Sleeper is still questionable because he's one of my quarterbacks. Mine is someone who literally tore the not that very hard, but the Denver defense apart. I mean, Cam Akers had himself a game. Shane has already said he had 3 touchdowns.
Sorry, man.
Nope, that's fine. 118 yards carry. Through the ground through 21 or 23 carried. 2 receptions, 29 yards. But I will say, Baker Mayfield is having a really good time in LA.
Yes.
His passer rating was 124. Against a very good or a good Denver defense.
Didn't we just say that you literally just contradicted yourself?
Denver have got a good defense. They had. They were number 3. Denver were number 3 defense going into that red zone defense going into that game.
You admitted that it wasn't very hard to tear the Denver defense apart.
On that game, it wasn't. They were shocking in that game.
They were shocking.
Going into that game, Denver defense was ranked number 3 in the red zone.
Bradley Chubb is they've still not replaced Bradley Chubb.
And they won't. It's gonna be the off season they put they replace him.
If they do.
Shame. Mr. Shame. Very, very, very shame. That's interesting. If anyone who doesn't know, Vivian Westwood's just passed away.
Oh no. Oh wow.
Fashion designer. Right.
It's been about a couple of hours with Pele.
No, it's been horrible. Jesus Christ.
Mr. Phil.
Yes.
Your turn to shine, sir, with the voice. It's been a couple of weeks, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, here we go.
Apologies, boys and girls, but welcome back to another great edition of This Week in Sporting Footballing History. I take you back first to 2014, where this one's for you, Mr. Hope. Jim Harbaugh coached his last game in the NFL, where the 49ers beat the Arizona Cardinals, bringing forth 2 years of misery and darkness for the red and gold in the Bay Harbor area.
Jim Tomsula and Chip Kelly, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Tom Sula barely lasted a season, and I mean, it was just another one of Trent Bulkey, who is doing wonders now in Jacksonville, just mismanaging the 49ers. But a lot of talk gets brought up in the 49ers community of which team is the best. The 2011, 2012 team, they had Willis and Bowman and Kaepernick in his prime, and we had Randy Moss and Crabtree, absolutely. Or what about the current 49ers defense? So it's quite interesting because a couple of weeks ago they had like the reunion dinner, didn't they? Where that a lot of the team, bar Colin Kaepernick, were invited down to Santa Clara, and they had like a dinner and like the ceremony and everything, praising that championship winning defense from that long ago. The other one that we brought up momentarily in the off season, and it was brought earlier on today, and Mr. Butler Hendo, you might be interested on this. On this day, this very day, the 29th of December 2022, Tom Brady has spent exactly half of his life in the National Football League. He was 22 years old, 8 months, 13 days, when selected 199th overall on day 2 of the 2000 NFL Draft. Today is 22 years, 8 months, 13 days since he was drafted.
Yes, but does that take into account the 40 days he was retired for? That is my question.
Good question. Well presented, dear sir.
I mean, it depends on what you want to sit on. I don't think until he came out of his mouth, I don't think that Tom Brady actually retired. It has to come actually out of his mouth.
Yeah, it was actually Sheffield who retired him.
He was, and he just came. I think him and Skip Bayless were like, no, I'm not going out this way. And then I mentioned in the off air news that was bigger than Tom Brady. And it's exactly 1 year to this day that we lost the great John Madden, whose legacy will outlive Tom Brady in terms of what he brought to the team, but also what he brought to the Raiders, what he brought to the National Football League, what he brought to commentary, what he brought to sports presenting, what he also brought to video games as well. Yes, I mean, John Madden genuinely is this immortal National Football League personality, and it's been a year. Did any of you watch the documentary that he did? Like that epic documentary. Then he died about a month after it aired.
I haven't watched it yet.
I think I did.
I watched it on Sky. I think it was on Boxing Day last year when they played it, and because it was the same time that the Disney Plus released the Al Davis versus the National Football League documentary. And John Madden talking about his whole career, because he had like Montana, he had Manning, he had Brady, he had like all these people that he's either coached, whether or not he's commentated, whether or not he's talked to, he's got to know personally one-on-one. I mean, it was really, really magical. And I watched it knowing that he'd already passed. So when he's talking about it, because it's through his perspective as he's commentating on his own life, it's just like, wow. But yeah, a year to this day that we lost John Madden. Ridiculous.
Sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rest in peace, big guy. And obviously we lost another sporting legend today as well, didn't we?
Yes.
With the great late Pele, probably the GOAT of football. I'm gonna say.
I do love how Americans say Pele, because they don't say Pele, they say Pele, and I just love it. I just love when they go say Pele. It's like it cracks me up as well. That like in the wrestling, Shano, when AJ Styles does his Pele kick.
Pele.
I'm not sure. In basketball, they were talking about the World Cup, and Charles Barkley pronounced Mbappe as Mbappe.
Tell me that you don't watch football without telling me you don't watch football.
It was almost as bad as Kyler Murray saying Harry Kane was an ice hockey player.
Yeah.
Well, he's clean every place so.
Which is mad. Absolutely mad. Let's roll on to week 17 predictions. Have I just clicked on the right thing? No, I haven't. There you go. Phil, you are leading by 1 with 40. Myself and Shano, we are 1 back on 39, and Ollie's was slowly catching up, but he's now dropped off a little bit again, unfortunately.
Although I am catching you on
but only 2.
I am catching on the prediction league, Ollie. You're dropping like a stone, And I'm so
I'm
used to signing up.
I'm staying 15th. Ian
I'm
said
sorry,
the same to me the other
you
day.
went-
If
you
he's
went from-
listening, hello, Ian.
You went from 4th to
That-
15th pretty quickly.
4th to 15th in 1 week.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I've stayed 15th this week.
And I've gone
But
up.
Ian
I've
was
gone up
saying
in-
anyone like 3rd to 15th it could change in 1 week. It's mental. So this week's games are now. I've to and frost around this quite a bit. I had 6 or 7 games written down, and they're all trying to find games that got some kind of playoff permutations involved. Whether if the team loses, they're eliminated. Whether they're going to end up being, there or thereabouts, or get results, and obviously tight, losing the 1 seed, etc., etc. So I've gone for New England against Miami, Jets against Seattle, Vikings against Green Bay, and Bengals against Bills on Monday night. I'm going to say we can have Bengals versus Bills now, and then we'll be allowed to change our predictions on Monday pre-show because it is Monday Night Football. If anything drastically happens, like Joey Bower goes into concussion protocol, or Buffalo's been snowed in and they can't go anywhere, or things like that, stuff like that. So let's go. As you are leading the way, Mr. Perrin, would you like to go first?
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna go with Miami over New England, but I was really, really iffy about it because I think New England are starting to come. I think Miami will just have enough to get over the line. I think the Seahawks are going to beat the Jets because I just think overall the Seahawks are a better team. The Vikings, I think, are going to beat Green Bay. I think Green Bay might be too little, too late. And I don't mind saying this now. I think the Bills are going to win.
Nice. Oh, go on then, Shane. Only because I've written your name next.
Yeah. By the way, my headset actually died. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, mate. Yeah.
Fantastic. So I'm going to go with not too far removed from Mr. Perrin's picks. I think I'm going to go with the Dolphins as well. Even though
Miami as well, was that?
I think they got enough to get them over the line. I think Seattle are a better side than the Jets. Vikings are all class all the way, and I think the Bills and Bengals is the top 1 and maybe 3 of the AFC. And I think it's a case of it's like Arsenal Man City. It's a big game with 2 big sides, and anybody could beat anybody. But as a Ravens fan, I'm going to go for the Bills.
Nice. Okay. I've gone completely different. Well, not almost completely different, but 3 out of the 4 different. I think New England are going to win.
of course.
Back
your own team, of course.
I mean,
you should.
There's yes, our offensive play quality is crap, but we're still hanging in we've the last 5 games that we've lost. 1 score against Minnesota, 1 score against Buffalo, 1 score against Las Vegas, 1 score against Cincinnati. 3 of those teams are in the playoffs.
Yeah.
If you're not going to back the team, why should we?
Exactly. I'm agreeing with Seattle though. I think Seattle has got too much in New York. Too much of a mess at the minute. I'm going with Green Bay over Minnesota. Okay. Minnesota they are the king of the 1-score games. They're 11-0 while winning 1-score games. Green Bay have found something. Green Bay are playing really well at the minute, and I wouldn't want to be playing them in the first round of the playoffs. Let's put it that way.
Unless you're fighting on.
And I can't really back Buffalo, can I? So it's going to have to be Bengals. It's going to have to be Cincy to win.
Okay, so I'm going to go Dolphins over New England. I just think Dolphins are going to have too much. They need to win to confirm to be in the playoffs. I think the Seahawks are going to beat the Jets because I just think they're a better overall team. I feel like Green Bay at home, this game matters a bit more to them than they have the Vikings. And I feel like the Vikings have been very lucky the past couple of weeks.
So you're going for Green Bay.
And yeah, Green Bay. And I think the Bills will beat the Bengals. Because I just think Josh
So
Allen
go and put your money on New York Jets to win. 'Cause that's how it normally works in this league. When we go 4 ways. It's interesting. Obviously, I've gone over head over heart for a couple of them, but I do generally think Cincinnati can beat Buffalo. I do generally think that. Obviously, we can get to Miami, and I think we can do it. Week 17 starts tonight with a Cowboys blowout against Tennessee, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tennessee have given up. They're resting all their eggs for next week's game. Kelly's agreeing with us, with myself, by the way. Like I said, I may change on Monday night when we do the show again. I don't agree with Texans resting players for next week. Derrick Henry's got a bit of a niggle. Yes, that's fair enough. But Malik Willis was starting to get a groove going. And then you're playing this player who's not even started the game in the NFL. He's been in the NFL for 6-7 years, I think it is. 2017, and he's been on 3 practice squads. Don't get this one at all. Really, really do not get this one. Any other games that float in your boats?
Well, there's the rivalry game, the Man United Liverpool of the NFL. My beloved we're now in the playoffs and scored our first wide receiving touchdown since week 3 against the Falcons, against those horrible towel spinning, censored words, the Pittsburgh Steelers. That rivalry game always sticks out, and it's been flexed to 20-1 Sunday night, Monday morning. So God help me Monday day.
I don't know. I'd just like to say my piece about this. I don't understand why they flex this game.
It's a rivalry game. These are 2 big names, and like I said, it's no matter.
There were big names 10 years ago. Like, this is the equivalent to when they try and. To me,
it's the equivalent of Newcastle Sunderland. You're saying?
No, because that is a big game.
It's the equivalent of
Bristol. It's the equivalent of Bristol Derby.
Yeah, I was going to Southampton, but I don't know.
Maybe Norwich Ipswich.
So there's news that's just come in by the NFL. Do excuse me, but wasn't Ryan Tannehill already on IR?
No, I think he was still a part of the roster.
So he's now been placed on IR, which is ended his regular
season.
The
season's done then.
Yeah,
I still think Titans are going to look for a quarterback. I don't think they're going to.
I agree.
They're not convinced by either. I think they're going to move on to 2. I don't think Malik or Tannehill are going to be starting.
Let's not write off this Dobbs guy. Maybe he'll have an absolute baller tonight and somehow beat the Cowboys. Who knows?
Yeah, it's not as if we haven't seen some random 3rd-string quarterback balling out recently, is it?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, not everybody could be, totally brilliant.
We've had two 1st-string quarterbacks play bloody well this season.
I mean, not everyone can actually have a quarterback committed next season either, can they?
And we've got 3. Well, 2, 3.
2. I haven't got enough. Sam Darnold, through the month of December, has got the best quarterback rating in the NFL, and he's going against Tampa.
I just want to put this out there. Darnold is not the problem.
No. That goes back to week 4 of last year?
I know, it's like our 3rd ever podcast, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that, wasn't it? But yeah, I mean, Jags Texans. There's obviously you've got Battle of Fields teams on Sunday night.
Yeah, I know. A bit of a fact about this game: it was the most expensive regular season ticket, with a ticket going for around about $1,500 a pop.
Wow.
And
I saw some of that. It was $480 to sit in the gods.
And it's expected to be 60% Niners fans.
Yeah,
It's mad.
that I can believe.
Absolutely mad. And then we've got the LA Derby as well in SoFi.
Yes.
I want to know. I'm guessing there is two home change rooms, one decked out in Chargers, one decked out in LA. And is there a spare stage? Is there like a third changing room
I'm
for
not sure.
like at the away team?
Can they both use their home? Can they both use their home dressing rooms though?
That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
Hmm.
100 odd plus guys in there. Sean McVay and what's his face shouting at each other. That could be quite interesting.
My peg.
Yeah. Joey Bosa going to Aaron Donald. What are you doing? That's mine. Get off. Go away. Yeah, that could be interesting.
I'd love to see that confrontation right there. I'd actually love it.
Yeah.
I've never. I mean, two other games that I'm just curious about is Chicago and Detroit. I think that's going to be an interesting game, and I want to see how much more embarrassing it can get for Denver because they're going to play the Chiefs away.
Yeah.
Well, I know a certain little boy of mine will be cheering on Mahomes levitating to the end zone again like he did last week.
Oh my god!
Have you finished the puzzle yet, Ollie?
No, we're about I'd say 2/3 of the way there, but he's back at his mum's till New Year's Eve, so we'll probably crack on it over the weekend at some point. But yeah, it's coming on. It's coming along with building a remote control Ferrari as well. Race Formula 1 car, which is quite good. Right, let's finish on tonight's show with Shano Specials. Love
Thank you
that title.
BH. As many of you know, or for those of who that don't, I work in a very very famous bookmaker, shall we say. But these bets are not going to be with them; they're going to be with Sky Bet, just to make you aware. So the first one I'm going to go with is for the 49ers, the Chargers, and the Ravens all to win is 15-8. I think that's money well spent. That is. I think the 49ers are obviously steamrolling everyone they come across. The Chargers are playing really well as well. And the Rams are basically, there or thereabouts. And of course, I'm going to have money on the Ravens to win anyway.
Did you have to inflate their heads anymore?
Well, sometimes you got to tell it as it is, So
Ollie's just jealous that we're going to make the playoffs.
49ers, Chargers, and Ravens to win 15-8. And the next bet then is for the highest scoring team of the weekend, which is going to be in my opinion, the Philadelphia Eagles, who are 10-1. And then in front of them is the Detroit Lions, who are 11-2, and the Chiefs, who are 9-2.
I fancy the Chiefs. I fancy the Chiefs for that one.
Yeah, but that's not a bad show, but not for that price. You know
what?
What
the second team? Lions.
Lions, but yeah.
The thing is, Lions are second favourite, yes. Jared Goff is the second best QB rating in the league at the minute, behind Sam Darnold. It does make me laugh that they showed it on Good Morning Football today. That Bears defense is fairly good. They lost a couple of their pass rushers, but it's still pretty solid. Yes, Detroit are one of the best rushing, one of the highest scoring teams in the league as well. But yeah, Eagles, I like that one. I like Eagles to be at 10-1. 11-1 was it?
Lions are 11-1 as well, so that's not a bad shout.
No.
And I've got one then, which is an outside bet, which caught my eye earlier on. Pat Mahomes and Brady to get over 325 plus passing yards each, 7-1. So that's my outside chance. I think there's no certainty that's going to come in, but like I said, that caught my eye when I was looking earlier on.
I do like that one.
Yeah.
Brady and Mahomes at 7 to both be over 300. Yeah, I like that one. That's a nice one.
225.
325.
Yeah.
25 plus, yeah.
Yeah, like that one. That's a good bet. That one is.
So if anybody to take any of my bets and put them on, please do let us know in the section down below how you got on. And if you did win a bit of money, buy me a pint, Strongbow, you know what it is.
Shayna will tweet those out from our account after the show as well, and we'll go from that one as well. Awesome. Love that one. Love that. I wish we started that earlier in the season, but hey, that's the way it is. Who's the current favourite for the Super Bowl at the moment, Shayna?
Let me just double check for you, but I believe it's the Bills. But let me just get the official odds up for you. Official with Sky Bet at the moment, the Bills are 7-2, the Chiefs are 9-2, and the Eagles are 9-2 as well.
With Minshew?
Those lot, those there, right, are 5-1. That's got to be worth a tenner.
10p maybe.
Eagles are 7-1. Cowboys are 8-1. Vikings Vikings are 22s. Ravens are 28s. Let me just see where the Pats. Oh no. The Pats.
We're about 300.
It's with the pounces, but 150-1.
Ooh. You're telling me
Hey, it's
there's
less
a
odds
chance.
than Leicester winning the title. I'll go chuck a tenner on it now.
Ah,
Hey,
You guys will
stranger
be-
things have happened. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
In case you guys care, Rodgers has just been named as questionable for the Vikings game.
Sick.
Oh.
I'm sticking by my. We can't change our predictions now.
Yeah,
The
no,
only game that can be changed is Mondays because we have a show in between that and the game.
I'm not. I said questionable, not out.
Yeah, he'll play.
Yeah, he'll
Carney
play.
was questionable with a broken bloody rib and still played.
Yeah.
And Jordan Love looked particularly good when he came in. Is that a Perrins or a Purdy jersey?
No, it's a parents' jersey. It's I bought this before Purdy came into our lives. Ollie, are you wearing your Garoppolo jersey?
I am wearing my Jimmy G jersey.
Oh, very nice, very nice. And Shana, who are you wearing?
Rocking the old school tight end Todd Heap, but 86.
Oh, nice.
Oh, very nice. And I do love the classic Patriots logo. Like, I actually wish they wore that more.
Yeah.
I love the throwback.
Oh,
I love
God.
the
I love throwback weeks. Like, I genuinely love throwback weeks.
Yeah, I mean, they wore it when they shut out the Lions in week 5. That was awesome.
Yeah.
The only good performance this season.
Right.
To be fair, you ain't much wrong with that one. We've had a couple of good performances against New York, and a couple other ones, Pittsburgh, but
Baltimore.
there's been some dire games. Absolutely dire games. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been Thursday night. We are going to go around the table and start with Shano and say what you've enjoyed most this year or thankful for this year.
Is this football terms or anything?
No, it can be wherever you want. I'm going to go for a personal thing. Well, I'm not sure that many people know that I go to gigs and festivals all the time, much as I can. I'm very much into my music. I've been to Download Festival this year and Bloodstock Festival this year, and I've seen Ghost in Birmingham, seen Alter Bridge in Birmingham. I'm just thankful that we're allowed to do that again after COVID and everything, and the fact that we can go and experience that with like-minded people. And I've just been thankful for my friends and family as well. Near or far, I don't live in my hometown anymore, but I've still retained a lot of those friendships that I still see my friends, and it's like I never left. So yeah, like I said, I'm here now, and I think people say, "New year, new me." I'm just going to be the same idiot. So just no.
He's going to go and run to get a tissue now and wipe those eyes.
And this is me sober, by the way.
Mr. Perrins.
That kind of sucks because I don't think Shane should have gone first because that was just too much of an emotional deep dive. I was really thinking like, what can I be thankful of? I'm thankful that Newcastle United don't make me miserable anymore. And but so in terms of personally, I got a promotion at work this year. I became head of year, so it's a step up in my career as a teacher because I've been head of department for 4 years and now being head of year. It's it's a nice it's a nice chunk of change in my pay packet. I'm very grateful that Newcastle United don't make me miserable on weekends anymore. I actually look forward to watching football on the TV. It's weird. I haven't been used to that in 10 years. And I'm very, very grateful that way back when, I think it's in September time, that a friend of mine at work showed me a post that you guys had put on there looking for a new co-presenters to come onto the show, and it was just really, really nice. I got to meet you guys because I think I've said before off air, the thing about being a teacher is that you find that most of your friends are all teachers. So getting to talk to you guys about not teachery things, and I get to talk to you about football and something I get to do twice a week. I really, really look forward to it. So I'm very grateful that I got to meet you guys as a quattro, which we are.
I'm very glad that I got to meet you guys too.
Oh, I know.
Superb.
And I've met you, Oliver.
Yes, I get.
I'm very grateful of my wife because she's listening.
Going on about your
Jim!
your lot going on all the time, but
because we're on. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but we're on holiday at the moment, so Gemma's sitting the opposite side of the room. As I've been doing the pod for the last hour and a bit, and I've just said my 3 things I'm grateful for, and she just piped up from reading a book, going. I'm very grateful of my wife, who's always supportive, and she's amazing. Sorry, Ollie, I didn't mean to interrupt. You can blame Gemma for that.
I guess I'm up next.
Go on, bud.
I'm going to say I'm thankful for my job because it's a job I really enjoy. And as Ollie knows, my last job I didn't really enjoy. / hated every second of. Again, I'm thankful for my friends and my family. And I got to see all my friends from home on the 27th. And Ollie got to see all my friends from home on the 27th.
I also got to hear all your friends at home on the 27th as well.
As I bumped into him bowling in Cheltenham.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for this podcast because it's something I really enjoy to do twice a week.
Yeah.
And I got to meet Ollie years ago, and you two start of the season-ish.
Definitely. She's probably going to cry, but I am very grateful for a certain lady that sat upstairs watching upstairs. Without her, I wouldn't have been able to go to Foxborough. I wouldn't have been able to do any of the things I've done this year, gigs, and being having the confidence to go and do stuff like that. I am grateful for you guys. Yes, I have a go at you two quite a bit for going about the 49ers all the bloody time, but
we're still good.
Yeah, and it's annoying. And if this happens next season, I might be looking for 2 new hosts.
Imagine if we win the Super Bowl, how insufferable we're going to be all off season.
Oh, God, don't help me. I'm now really grateful this last 5-6 weeks, November time, my role got made permanent, so I'm really grateful I've got this role here that's settled. Yes, it's really annoying with some of the people I work with, but I'm really grateful.
Like the Cowboys fan.
Yeah. I don't know if he's watching, actually. I did share it to the group. I don't know if he's with any groups, but yeah, it's it does help having a Cowboys fan, another NFL fan you can talk with. It's great, and it sends me random messages and all that. It's quite funny. But yeah, my life has turned around. What it was in 2020 is testament. Obviously everyone had so much troubles and all that in 2020, but the stuff that I went through and where I am now are 2 completely different levels. It's like a bottom of a mountain all the way to the near enough the top of the mountain where I should be. And if it wasn't for a certain lady upstairs, and if it wasn't for my friend that I have and you guys and and other things I had, I wouldn't be here now. And I'm not just saying that, it's genuinely true. I was in generally the deep state.
I do think we should give a shout out to a certain Belma host that we do roast a lot on this show, but he was a big part of it for the first year and a bit of its thing. So I think we should give a shout out to Tom if he's watching.
Yes, most definitely, Tom. I mean, you were here at the start of the year, and we do wish you all the best of luck in your whatever you're doing nowadays, mate. And good luck. Ladies and gentlemen, please go out and be safe and be happy tomorrow and enjoy the festivities of New Year's Eve on Saturday. Enjoy it. Go and have a good time. Be merry. Be safe. And we will see you Monday. Happy New Year, all.
See you next year, y'all.
Happy 2023.